Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Here.
Director Wilson.
Here.
Director Hayes is not present. Director Russell.
Present.
Director Eccles is excused. Director Edwards is excused. And President Bradley.
Here we have a quorum. I'll call this meeting to order.
From the President, preliminary approval for letting number 8704, Vehicle Wash Bay at Airfield Maintenance, St. Louis Lambert International Airport. Addendum number 1 for letting number 8717 for the relocation of FAA-ASDEX facility and airport beacon at St. Louis Lambert International Airport. Okay, the board recommendation that the foregoing be declared as a festival zone. Hawks Fan Nest Zone Tailgate, March 21st, April 5th, and April 12th, 2020, at 2nd between Lucas and Laclede Landing, Morgan between 1st and 3rd. Decade Escapade, March 28th, 2020, at Compton between Cherokee and Alleyway. Mupin Hero Workout Challenge, April 4th, 2020, at Cricket Field, east of the Visitor Center in Forest Park. Cardinals 5, April 11, 2020, at Clark at the Ballpark Village, east on Clark, north on 4th, east on Chestnut, north on Memorial, east on Morgan Connector, north on Lumiere, east on Laclede Landing, south on Lenore K. Sullivan, west on Shoto, north on 4th, west on Clark to finish at Ballpark Village. NLEC, April 12, 2020, Help on the Streets Festival, Easter, at Locust between 14th and 15th. Atomic Cowboy Shady Grove, April 17th through the 19th, 2020, at Talmadge between Manchester and 1st South Alley and Talmadge between 1st South Alley to 2nd South Alley. And the Color Run, April 8, 2020, at Eternal Flame Park and Memorial Plaza in Chestnut, April 8, 2020. Market and Streets west of 14th, 5K untimed run with color stations every 1K along the route. Rosalitas Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, 2020, at 13 between Washington and Lucas, Washington from 1227 to 1305, North Curve Lane, meters only, number 2446, 2451, and 2465 through 2467, not closing Washington. Grove Pride, June 27 through the 28th, 2020, at Manchester between Sarah and Kentucky, and Talmadge between Manchester and Alley. Temple Church of Christ, July 18, 2020, at Dayton between East Elliott and North Leffingwell, West Side, and Leffingwell between Dayton South and Alley, north of Gamble. Manchester Bike Bash, July 25th through the 26th, 2020, at Manchester between Sarah and Kentucky, and Talmadge between Manchester and Alley. Blues at the Arch, August 7th, 14th, 21st, and 28th, 2020, at North Gateway to the Arch grounds adjacent to Washington and East Bridge and Washington between 1st and 2nd. Recommendation that the board declares as emergency work orders issued for the month of January 2020 by the Department of the President and Facilities Management Division, Board of Public Service, for emergency work and repairs requiring prompt attention be approved. From the President and Director of Streets, Midwest Soccer Academy to encroach with temporary barricades at 1520 Market from 5 p.m. March 13, 2020 to 7 p.m. March 14, 2020. From the President and Directors of Parks, Recreation, and Forestry, joint recommendation that permit for the Lafayette Park Conservancy for park improvements consisting of restoring perimeter fence by conducting a test on erecting the fence according to its 1868 design and starting with the 6-section part of the fence on Lafayette Avenue in Lafayette Park be approved, subject to certain conditions. From the Director of Public Utilities, recommendation that the board declares as emergency repair of the slip rings of eddy current magnet clutch number 2 be approved. From the Director of Public Utilities and Streets, joint recommendation that the following permits be approved, subject to certain conditions as follows. MCI Metro Access to bore and place 1 2-inch 2 feet conduit and 3 by 5 by 3 handhold for new fiber starting in front of 4400 Maryland. Place handhold, then bore 308 feet east along south side of Maryland, ending and placing new handhold across the street from 4396 Maryland. MCI Metro Access to bore and place 1 2 feet conduit and 3 by 5 by 3 handhold for new fiber starting in the front of 4431 Lindell. Place new handhold, then bore 78 feet south across Lindell, placing new handhold in front of 4400 Lindell. From this handhold, bore 54 feet east across North Newstead, ending and placing new handhold in front of 4396 Lindell. MCI Metro Access to bore and place 1 2 feet conduit and 3 by 5 by 3 handhold for new fiber starting at existing handhold located at the rear of 4407 Forest Park Avenue, bore and place conduit 185 feet south along the west side of South Newstead, then turn east and bore 128 feet along the north side of Forest Park, ending and placing new handhold in front of 4399 Forest Park. MCI Metro Access to bore and place 1 2 feet conduit and 3 by 5 by 3 handhold for new fiber starting at existing handhold located near parking lot of 235 South Boyle. Bore conduit 681 feet north along the west side of South Boyle, then turn and 45 feet east crossing South Boyle, ending and placing new handhold on the side of parking lot for 4257 Forest Park Avenue. MCI Metro Access to bore and place 1 2 feet conduit and 3 by 5 by 3 handhold for new fiber starting at existing handhold located near 20 South Sarah, and bore and place conduit 335 feet south along the east side of South Sarah, then turn and bore 288 feet east along the south side of Forest Park Avenue, ending and placing new handhold in front of parking lot located at 4052 Forest Park Avenue. MCI Metro Access to bore and place 1 2-inch conduit and 3 by 5 by 3 handholds for new fiber starting at existing manhole located near 1019 Pine, bore conduit 34 feet south, then turn and bore 328 feet east along the south side of Pine and ending and placing new handhold across the street from 909 Pine Street. AT&T will directionally bore and place a 24 fiber cable. Will start at an AT&T handhold at the side of 2120 Gasconade South in front of MSD Pumping Station and end at the front of 4070 South First, etc. AT&T beginning at the existing manhole located near 3700 Forest Park Avenue, bore and place conduit for new fiber 80 feet north across Forest Park Avenue, then turn and bore 14 feet west along the north side of Forest Park, ending and placing new handhold at the side of 23 South Spring. Joint recommendation that the following permits for charter communications be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. Starting at existing charter pedestrian in front of 2120 Gasconade, travel 340 feet along the south side of Gasconade to the southwest corner of Gasconade and First Street. Then take a 90-degree turn and travel 30 feet north, crossing under Gasconade to Ameren Utility Pole number 81183, etc. Charter will cut or bore for the purpose of installing fiber cable for broadband communication, includes Charter Business Network. Our cables will be buried 30 inches in depth and be enclosed in a plastic conduit or inner duct. All work will be in compliance with national electrical codes and ordinances. Let me see. Cut a bore for the purpose of installing fiber cable starting in the alley behind 6177 Delmore, going west for 378 feet and ending in the alley behind 6201 Delmore Boulevard. From the Director of Public Utilities and Public Safety, joint recommendation is the following consolidations of land be approved subject to certain conditions as follows. Forest Park Properties, Inc. and Land Reutilization Authority, 4420 through 4434 Norfolk in City Block 3980, and by State Development Agency of Missouri, Illinois Metropolitan District, 4250 Duncan Avenue in the rear, in City Block 4586. From the Director of Streets, a loan agreement between the Missouri Department of Natural Resources and the City of St. Louis for the purpose of extending the project period. Paragraph 8 is rescinded and replaced with the following. The completion date of the project shall be no later than August 31st, 2021, unless an extension is approved in writing by the department. The borrower shall notify the department when the project has been completed and it is making its final disbursement request. The date of the completion of the project shall be deemed to be the date upon which the department sends the borrower its final disbursement on the project cost loan. Project completion be approved. Now we have the conditional uses.
Good afternoon, Mr. President and members of the board. My name is Sandra Long, zoning specialist for the city, and I'll be representing the building commissioner at today's meeting. For board order number 766, transmitted herewith are recommendations for the following conditional use agenda applications. Approval with conditions is recommended for 4 applications: 1110 Washington, 7329 South Broadway, 5421 Riverview, 5425 Riverview. I request that these recommendations be approved as submitted.
Are there any questions on the conditional uses from the board?
Motion to approve the conditional uses as submitted.
Moved and second for approval of today's conditional uses. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson. Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Russell.
Aye.
Director Eccles is excused. Director Edwards is excused. And President Bradley.
Aye. Conditional uses are approved. I'd like to turn your attention to our meeting minutes from last Tuesday, March 3rd, 2020. Are there any questions or comments on the minutes?
Approved last week's.
Second.
Moved and second for approval of last week's minutes. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie.
Aye.
Director Wilson. Director Hayes.
Aye.
Director Russell.
Aye.
Director Eccles is excused. Director Edwards is excused. And President Bradley.
Aye. The minutes are approved. Today's agenda, questions or comments on today's agenda? Seeing now, take a motion, please.
Second.
Moved and second for approval of today's agenda. Can you call the roll, please?
Director Scobie. Director Wilson.
Aye.
Director Hayes. Director Russell.
Aye.
Director Eccles is excused. Director Edwards is excused. And President Bradley.
Aye. Today's agenda is approved. Motion for adjournment, please.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.